Mike's Daily Podcast.
You've been so patient. I was supposed to do a podcast yesterday, and I did not. Because I went
Mike's Daily Podcast.
full Wisconsin. No, I did not. I was very busy yesterday on my Monday and my Sunday. So what can I say? It's episode 2299, 2299. That's fine. That's Mike Matthews singing to you, and I'm done. It's sublime. That's right. And it's summertime, and the living's easy.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And then somebody's rocking on the MC mic thing. Hey, I want to congratulate
Mike's
a guy I knew
Daily
back in Ventura
Podcast.
named Barry Funkhauser.
Yeah!
We all called him Funk. He apparently has gotten a very large job with a very big podcasting company. And I knew him back when. In fact, he was one of the kids. Yes, he was just a kid. Shows you how old I am. But yes, he was just a kid back when I was old. Interning, now he's a grown adult. Interning for the radio station I worked for called Khay, Khay. He was an intern helping out with one of the events. And he was like, so what's a... So, hey, Mr. Mike... I was going by Matt back then. Hey, Mr. Matt, what's it like when you're working in the radio station? What do you like about being in radio? This guy has gone on to work at all the big radio stations in LA. He's even dabbled in Vegas and Portland, and he's been everywhere, man, like Roger Miller, everywhere. And he got into podcasting early on. He worked with a good friend, a guy that I miss so much. It was a radio genius that I worked with for quite a while, Matt Cooper, who passed much too young. The two of them worked together, did a podcast called...
And here's today's podcast picture.
Pod Zeppelin. And that ended when we lost Matt years ago. But Funk went on, and he's done so many different podcasts and such. So he's now doing this one. He's working for this company, a big company. I think it's called 57 something. Anyway, if you listen to podcasts, you've at some point listened to something that Funk had something to do with. So there you go. Funkhauser, Barry Funkhauser, way to go. The podcast picture today, I have really no idea. You put this immense pressure on me. Oh, the late great Basil the boxer. Now, he was in one recently. We may not post a picture of him recently. We'll get to... Oh, Basil and I went all over the Bay Area, and I think this podcast picture... I think we'll go with a picture with lovely lady friend. How about that? Yes, from a recent outing that I did with her where we met up with some friends. Her boss and her boss's husband, and her boss is pregnant. So I think they've got a couple more months to go. So we'll post that picture at mikesdailypodcast.com. A happy Mike is what you'll see at mikesdailypodcast.com. I was discussing with someone who has a internet radio station, over 3,000 followers listening to the station. Way more than that, but he's got like email in his email database. He's got over 3,000 people. And we were discussing, I got mikesdailypodcast.com as my domain, and I pay for that year after year after year. I don't think it's been a full 10 years yet since I've had the website, but it costs some money. And he goes, oh no, it's only about $10 a month or something. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I think they're increasing it. But that's the thing I gotta look into. All right, how about your brain? Steps to reduce or delay the risk of Alzheimer's. Oh, horrible Alzheimer's. If you've known someone who's gone through it, or you've gone through it when you've lost someone to Alzheimer's, it's terrible. Over 65 and can't remember where you left your keys. There's probably no need to fret. Occasional memory blips are common in older adults. With more on that, here's Mike across the room. Hey! Did you know that Mike across the room sounds slightly further away than Mike right next to the microphone? Just thought I'd point that out. Memory loss. Occasional memory blips are common in older adults, but memory loss, and at Cafe Anyway, by the way, this is a thing that we try to, we try to eat healthy here at Cafe Anyway. I'm not saying it's a bunch of vegan food, but let's just say we try and, be cognizant of what we ingest. Of course, like I said, we follow not the 6 foot social distancing rule, but the 8 foot. We add the extra 2 feet because that really helps, he said somewhat sarcastically. But listen, I was watching this guy, and he also has daily in the title of his show, only he has a video blog, a travel vlog thing, and he goes by the Daily Woo, that's the name of his podcast, or his vlog, his YouTube channel. He went to the Magic Kingdom, what we on the West Coast used to call Disney World, even though it's actually the Magic Kingdom. It's the Disneyland that's over in Florida, whatever you want to say, however way you want to identify it. And he went there because he was close by. He's got that app on his phone that tells him when the wait time is really, really short for the rides. And he saw the wait time was short, so he drove to Disney World, for lack of a better term. That's what I'm going to call it for the rest of this podcast. And he got there at 6 o'clock at night, and parking ends. You don't have to pay for parking at 6 o'clock. So that saves you, $20-25. And he gets in. And yeah, as we go outside a Cafe Anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. He then got to get on all these rides, like waiting, just walking right up to the ride, getting on. However, when he left, when it came time to close the park, and they did the fireworks, and then everybody leaves after the fireworks. Well, I mean, some websites and Disneyland know-it-all video channels on YouTube tell you, you know what, don't leave when everybody leaves. Stay around in the park. Well, they don't let you really. They tell you, get the heck out. They ever so gently say, leave. So he leaves, and he gets stuck in this massive rush. Even though he was getting on all the rides in no time at all, there were all these people leaving all at once. I hate that. That's why I don't like to go to concerts anymore. Well, that and the fact there's COVID and there were no concerts, and looks like there won't be any concerts for a while now. But my point being, as he was leaving with this rush, with this onslaught of people, and this happened on Sunday, you look out in the crowd, and it wasn't everybody wearing masks. It was some people wearing masks. Some people, a lot, not wearing masks. And you can get out of, with Disney World, you leave the park and you have to either get on a bus, a monorail, or a boat. That's it, because there's this grand expanse to get to the parking lot. I don't know why they did that. In California, the parking lot used to be right by the front gate, and then they tore the parking lot out and put in Disneyland California. And now you have to park in someplace somewhere not that close to the park itself, and usually have to take some kind of I don't know if they have the monorail that brings you in, but I know they have these little trams and stuff. So he's getting on a boat to get back to his car, and he's crammed on this boat. And he panned around to show how crowded it was, and he says there are people pressing into me. And there are several people not wearing a mask. I mean, a lot. So, Mitch McConnell today, as I go on this massive tangent, and thank you so much for putting up with my tangent. I guess that's what this podcast is a lot of tangents. Mitch McConnell today, good for him. And being a Republican, he's, of course, a Republican and the Senate Minority Leader since 2021. He was the Senate Majority Leader for quite a while. He had a couple of things to say. And it's very distressing that in the world of the right, that this whole anti-vax thing has become so big. And now it's huge with the Christian community. If you're a Christian, more and more leaders, Christian leaders, pastors and whatnot, are telling you to not get vaccinated, which is ridiculous. I don't know how that happened. It somehow became connected. So Mitch McConnell apparently recorded a get vaccinated PSA. And from what I heard, he had dealt with polio when he was younger. So, let's see. I am trying to get to this story without opening a bunch of horrible ads. And it didn't work. Darn it. That's the one thing I hate about looking up stories on the internet. Oh, here we go. So I'm going to go through the world of MSN.com. And he's filmed a public service announcement to encourage people to get the COVID-19 vaccine. It's part of the Kentucky Broadcasters Association and the National Association of Broadcasters. So the National Association of Broadcasters is cool with getting vaccinated. However, I believe it's the National Religious Broadcasters Association that is not cool with vaccinations. In fact, they fired the head of that association, from what I understand, because he came out with a pro-vaccine stance. The PSA begins with a voiceover with McConnell speaking directly to the camera, saying, "As a boy, I fought polio. Wow. Today, America's been polio-free for 40 years, thanks to vaccinations. We'll beat COVID-19 with vaccines too. Protect yourself and your family. Get vaccinated." That's powerful. Because in this world of revisionistic history, where we revise history every 5 seconds, thanks to the dang internet, which I'm biting the hand that feeds, because of the internet, there is this podcast. You would not be able to listen to this podcast without the internet. It is amazing that we completely forgot about what heck we went through with polio. And Mitch McConnell, he fought polio, and because of vaccinations, we are polio free here in America. And if you think COVID is bad, polio, wow. I never would want to fight that or COVID, but still, what the heck? How did we forget about that? Let's see, McConnell has not been shy about pushing people to get the COVID vaccine, saying at an event in Kentucky, 90% of the hospitals in Kentucky and across the country are full of people who are unvaccinated. Proof, not opinion, proof that vaccines work. I hope each of you are doing everything you can to influence your friends, your family, your employers. There's a solution to this. It's the vaccination. This is Mitch McConnell's words, not mine. Mitch McConnell, a Republican, a stalwart force. Yes, you may not like him if you're a Trump supporter, because occasionally he would do a thing or two that would upset the Trump, but who didn't upset Trump? And he was, at other times, Trump was praising McConnell. And that's the only way out of the pandemic permanently, Mitch McConnell said. Kentucky has seen a spike in COVID cases with a 62% increase in cases over the past 14 days. However, the state has a 48% of its population is fully vaccinated. And 57% has received at least one dose. This was from NBC News, posted this on MSN.com. You may hate all of those people that I just mentioned, or organizations that I just mentioned, but it's something to consider. I listened to a guy for about 2 hours last night on the radio talking about how everything is a conspiracy and everything is just everyone's out to get you. And he's not vaccinated. And in the end, and he relies heavily on vitamins and he's a nice guy and I like him and I talk to him and he's a fellow podcastrovalian, and it just it's sad because he could catch it. A guy in Daytona Beach, my mom lives in Daytona Beach, a talk show host just died, and he was an avid anti-vaxxer, and he's dead because of COVID. It's something that I know. You probably, if you listen to this podcast, you probably in some way either disagree or agree, but you probably are going, well, yeah, Mitch McConnell had polio. My mom, when she was a young girl, I believe she also fought polio and had to be, no, wait a minute, let's see. I know she had to be quarantined for like over a year. And this was back in Germany. I always forget the disease she had, but it was bad. It was a bad one. Really bad. Very, very bad, to quote the former president. Very, very bad. So back to this whole thing about Alzheimer's. I'll get more into this in a future podcast. But really, there is if you're too skinny, talk to your healthcare provider about healthy ways to gain weight. Yes, otherwise maintain what is determined to be a healthy weight. They say that is one of the ways to lower your risk of Alzheimer's. Keep your mind sharp by reading, playing chess, or starting a hobby. Learning often encourages social contact and cognitive activity, both of which reduces the risk of dementia. Take charge of diabetes, make healthy food choices, exercise regularly to curb the risk of diabetes. That helps lower the risk of Alzheimer's. Protect your head. Injuries or trauma to your head can wreak havoc on your brain. Shield yourself by using your seatbelt and driving safely. Wear a helmet when biking or skating, because that can help reduce Alzheimer's. Also, control your blood pressure. Deal with depression, because depression apparently can cause Alzheimer's risks. Minimize stress. That contributes to it's also a mental health issue that contributes to Alzheimer's. And get tested to see if you have hyperhomocysteemia, a condition that damages arteries, triggers blood clots, and increases your risk for Alzheimer's and other dementias. Wow. All of that from the Costco connection. Probably you don't want to eat a lot of the Costco hot dogs either. That might contribute to Alzheimer's. And if we're talking about trying to prevent damage to arteries, I kind of see a correlation between those two. Quit smoking. Avoid exposure to tobacco smoke. These also help taking extra steps against Alzheimer's disease. It says shoot for a body mass index between 18.5 and 24.9. I don't think I'm anywhere near that. Shoot. That body index thing, that's hard to keep, huh? Keep your heart healthy with diet and exercise, and stay strong. Frailty appears to increase Alzheimer's risk. And get vitamin C from your diet or as a supplement. And this from the Costco connection. Maybe we will tackle that some more in a future podcast, but definitely in this podcast, we always try to look at your health and healthy ways to live, as I am always trying to strive for this and trying to strive for things to make life a little bit better. Because we look at the little things in life that are a little bit weird and strange, and, you know, just trying to make life better for you. And all in all, is the goal of this podcast, somewhere outside a cafe anyway. Look who's here. Hello, my gosh, it's Madame Rootabega, and I don't have the Alzheimer's. Oh, you remember everything? Yes. You remember to eat well and stay away from bad foods?
Yes.
You listen to this podcast every day?
No.
Oh, that hurts. Look who else is here.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the Burger King attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, we hear that you have a thing where you talk to people, but you're not on the microphone. You're far away there.
Yeah, far away. Do you know that?
We did that earlier in the show, but I don't always do that. That was just a one-time thing. Well, maybe we'll do it once in a while, but yes. So, there. That answered that question. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the engineer. Hey, you can call the show, and you can also tell us what you think and add your opinions. With the segment emails from email and your common not so comments, you can call the show 336-MM Daily. That's 3 plus 3 equals 6. MM as in Mike Matthews, Daily as in with this podcast. We'll try to be more often this week, although I did get interrupted a couple of times last week and earlier this week. We'll see how it goes. But with more on where to email me, it is New Mama A-Frame.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!